Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is, will the Clippers be able to pull off the Lonzo Ball trade before the trade deadline? So that's the topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, make sure you please hit that notification bell, because if you don't, you most likely won't be able to see some of our videos that we upload. So make sure you do that. Also, check out our Dreamerspro Max. It's an online sports community that we created. It's a place where you can go start, basketball and sports discussions, chat live during games, go live with us after games, consume original content that you're not going to be able to get anywhere else, and so many other cool things. So if you guys want to check that out, we have a link in the description below and get 7 days of free access. I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy that. So let's get into this. Here, because we got a lot of content. I want to get into this quickly. So y'all know that the trade deadline is quickly approaching, right? This is Tuesday now. The trade deadline, I think, ends on, I believe it's Thursday. So we're about 3 days out, really 3 days out. And during the game last night, the Clippers actually made a trade during the game. I was kind of bouncing in between the game and just checking the internet, and I saw that they made a trade to the Kings last night, and they traded away their young player. I hope I'm pronouncing his name properly, Mfiondu Kabengele, to the Kings. They traded him. He's a former, I think, second round pick, to clear up $2.6 million, off their hard cap. So I think they're going to have an additional $2.6 million there, which indicated to me that the Clippers were making moves. Right, you saw Lawrence Frank during the game. For those of you that saw the game, you saw him on his phone. He was busy at work. I'm sure he was working on deal. I'm sure he was very busy at trade deadline week. I'm sure for presidents of basketball operations and GMs, I'm sure it's a very, very, very frantic week for them. So I'm sure he was busy there. And the Clippers front office is under a lot of pressure to make something happen here, because they need a solid point guard, right? They can handle the ball handle responsibilities, help the team get into their offensive sets, but also can knock down threes, play great defense. We know this has been one of the issues that they had have had all season long, from that position on this team. Now, the current crop of point guards that they have are Lou Williams, Reggie Jackson, Terrence Mann, and Patrick Beverley. Of these guys, I only like two of them. I only like Patrick Beverley. I like Patrick Beverley for his energy, his tenacity, his leadership, his three-point shooting, his defense. And he seems to be the heartbeat of the team. I like Patrick Beverley for that, although the issue with Pat is he's always injured. Pat has been injured for a lot, for a good amount of games this season. I think he's missed about 30% of the games this year. And going into the Orlando bubble last year, if you guys remember, Patrick Beverley was injured again, and he missed the first round of the playoffs because of injury. So Patrick Beverley, as great as he is, he's always injured, right? But I like having him on the team. I like having him as a voice on the team, right? So I like him there. And I also like Terrence Mann, especially after last night's performance against the Atlanta Hawks. Terrence Mann, I really doubt that they're going to trade away Terrence Mann. If I go and look at his numbers last night, Terrence Mann scored 21 points last night. He shot 50% from the field, although he only attempted two three-pointers. He made 8 of 14 shots. He played very aggressively, and he played really well for the Clippers last night in that game. So for me, these are the two guys that I like, and the other two guys in Lou Williams and Reggie Jackson, I'm not really a fan of these guys. You saw Lou Williams, they took him out of the game, and he didn't play I think he didn't play after the first half. I don't think I saw him play in the second half, right? And I was like, thank God, really, because again, I'm not really a Lou Williams fan, right? I'm not really a Lou Williams fan, and I think Reggie Jackson is just more of Lou Williams. I think you're just a little bit more of what you get from Lou Williams. Not really a great playmaker, can't score, can get to the basket, but that's pretty much all you're going to get. That's pretty much all you're going to get from him. Now, I also know that they have Luke Kennard as a possible trading piece that they could use to trade. I don't know how the Clippers are going to feel about trading Luke Kennard after last night's performance, given the fact that he was one of the main reasons that team was able to come back and win that game, going 8 from 8 from the field, going 4-4 from the three-point line, hit big shot after big shot after big shot, and miss a single shot from the floor. And he was one of the main reasons, the main catalyst for helping that team get back in that game, and ultimately winning that game against winning that game against the Atlanta Hawks. So I think if they dealt away Luke Kennard right now, I think that would be a controversial move, given the fact of how I'm sure Clipper Nation, and people that just support the team in general, feel about him, especially after last night's game. I don't know how people will feel about him, but also I've also heard that people were displeased with Luke Kennard for the majority of the season because he's been passive for most of the season, to the point where he just took himself out of the rotation. Luke Kennard was not getting any minutes because of his lack of his aggression, and those minutes were now going to Terrence Mann because of his his unwillingness to shoot and be aggressive, right? So he took himself out of the rotation. But then after last night, you saw how he came back. He was ready. He was a professional. Had a game, for sure his best game of the year. I'm not really sure if the Clippers are going to be willing to trade him. Now, if they are willing to trade him after last night's performance, is going to make it a little bit easier for teams to want to get that guy on the team, because they saw how well he played, especially under a pressurized situation. Although I think if they do decide to keep Luke Kennard on the roster, I think he's a guy that can be pretty big for them in the playoffs. I think he's a guy that can make it into a rotation in the playoffs because he can handle the ball. He can, he can score off the dribble. He can create his own shot. He's not like Joe Harris or one of these type of guys that or JJ Redick, a guy that you need to constantly run, screens for to get them open. Is always kind of on the run. It looks like he can handle the ball on his own and really get himself his own shot, which I like. Right, he's not always relying upon somebody else to get him a shot, so that kind of differentiates him from other players. And he's a very good 3-point shooter. Let's just be honest, he's a very good 3-point shooter, pure shooter. The way he shot one of those threes from the corner, and I didn't even realize the ball went in. I was like, did the ball go in? And I just heard everybody cheer. He's that good of a shooter, so it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do with him. Now, Lonzo Ball has been the name that keeps coming up over and over and over again. We've heard different reports from CBS Sports, Bleacher Report, and others that Lonzo Ball seems to be the guy that the Clippers want. That's the guy that sources have been reporting that's the guy that the Clippers are very interested in. I've already given the reasons why I think Lonzo Ball could work well with the team. I've given the pros and cons. The pros obviously being his size, his passing ability, his ability to to run the point, great playmaking, and all of these things that he brings to them on the court as positives. The drawbacks, of course, are his lack of experience. Never been to the playoffs, doesn't have any real playoff experience, and also his dad. His dad is a loudmouth, tends to talk a lot, tends to draw a lot of attention to himself, tends to make it all about himself and his son, tends to criticize teams when they're not doing what he sees fit. And the only thing I don't quite understand about LeVar Ball is he a basketball coach? Is he a college, is he a coach? Because LeVar tends to have a lot of suggestions of what coaches should do, but I don't think he's a coach. I don't think he's ever coached at the professional level yet. He's telling coaches what to do, and the only advice he gives is always based on what his son can do. It's all, every advice, every success route that he offer, a success route that he sees has to go through his son. So with 3 days left, before the trade deadline expires, the question is, will the Clippers be able to pull off the trade to get Lonzo Ball? And to be quite honest with you, I don't know what the answer is to that question, right? Because I've seen many times in the past, you think a team is going to do one thing, and then they end up doing something completely different, right? Like we could be hearing Lonzo Ball, and it could end up being George Hill for all we know, or it could end up being Rajon Rondo. You never know with the NBA, and with the NBA, you never truly know unless you're an insider. So for me, I think it's a wait and see thing. Do I think the Clippers are going to make a move before the deadline? Absolutely. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing all of these different things. And they also know that they need to make a move. But is it going to be Lonzo Ball? I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure that Lonzo Ball is going to be the guy that they end up getting, before the trade deadline. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you think that the Clippers are going to be able to trade for Lonzo Ball before the trade deadline expires? Or do you think they're going to be able to make a trade, but it's going to be for somebody else that maybe we're not focusing on? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Again, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out the next video that we have coming up on the channel. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro. Wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.